So I've been like all across the entire United States, and honestly, like this taco place, like right here where I live, is like one of the best taco places ever. I've literally tried tacos like in Kansas and like Texas and New Mexico, and I've never been to Mexico, which would be pretty cool, but this place has the best. What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode here on Full Throttle. My name is Charlie, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this car up in the air and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what to look for with suspension on the front and what goes bad and when it goes bad, and you know, like when it should be changed, how you can test things, and what noises some things make. And there's a lot of reasons why this stuff goes bad. It can go bad for, you know, age, just like anything else. It wears out over time. It can go bad if you live in an area that uses a lot of salt. It can go bad from, you know, if you drift. Or you put an excessive amount of, you know, pressure on your powertrain, then you're gonna have, you know, stuff go bad prematurely. So these are some of the things. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why things go bad, and just like any other car, stuff that's rubber, it wears out. You know, you hit 100,000 miles and stuff needs to be replaced. So I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna jack up this car and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Before I get to it though, I wanna say, if you guys need any parts for 350Zs, G35s, 300ZXs, or G37s, I've got parts on my eBay store. If you need anything, you can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, or if you prefer to buy on eBay, you can buy it there. But I'll leave the links for all that stuff in the description, and now I'm gonna get to the video. Alright, so one of the first things you're gonna wanna look for is these bushings here. Is these control arm bushings. You can already see that this one right here is starting to separate, and let's see about this one. This one as well, little bit separated, but it's okay, at least it's not rubbing on the frame, and it seems like it's holding a little bit, but those control arm bushings, they always go bad. These are SPL lower control arm bushings. They're about, come on, focus here. They're about $130, I think, like $120 something after tax and stuff. And these are really great. They're a great install. They perform really good, and they don't really go bad. So I mean, this is something good to replace. This is the ball joint here. You've got the shock mount. End links tend to make noise over time, so this is one of the things that makes noise. You can test it by seeing if it moves at all. So when you grab these, I mean, yeah, it can move from side to side. Like, I'll move it real quick. Let's see if you guys can see this here. So you can see it move like this, but it should not move up and down or out. So like, if you pull on it from this top portion and you go that direction, it should not have any any play. So that's one way to check for these. The ball joints, they'll look worn out, they'll look ripped, and what you can do is when you're driving, if you hear like a clunking, that's a main giveaway, but it's also a main giveaway of these compression arm bushings. So this one right here, if this compression arm bushing isn't bad, then chances are this is bad here. But this one is definitely bad. You can see by the way, so you can't see too much on the camera, but I'll probably pause it right here and circle what I'm talking about. You can see how there's a big portion of the rubber that is just gone. Come on. It's just gone. It's not even connected anymore. So I went over the end links, I went over the control arm bushings, and I'll put a video in and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. We went over the ball joints and the compression arms. These are all things that make a lot of noise. So I'm gonna get to the road video and show you guys what happens under driving conditions. I guess I'll do a little bit of the back of the car as well. One of the main things that goes bad in the back is this differential bushing. So let's see if I can show you the crack here. You guys can see that it's all cracked on the top. That's one of the things that goes bad. Replacing this is not the easiest job, but it is doable, and they do sell aftermarket, you know, polyurethane and solid differential mounts that you can put in here and replace that bushing. The end links on the back tend to go bad really easily too. They just start making noise, and you'll hear the creaks and stuff of the suspension when you're going over small bumps in parking lots and stuff. Other than that, really the only thing else that goes bad back here is the shock absorbers, and you'll notice that the shock absorber is bad when it's leaking fluid down here. So you'll get fluid right on the actual shock absorber itself, and you'll be able to see that clearly that's leaking and it's bad. The only other thing that really kind of wears out back here, I mean, of course other bushings do get worn out, but I mean, you don't run into too many issues. You can see that these ones are still not cracked. They're a lot smaller of a bushing, and it's going to take a little bit longer for these to go bad than a bigger bushing like this, especially when it's put under constant load. So the only other thing that really goes bad back here quickly is these sway bar bushings, and the only reason why these go bad is because they get dried out, the weather gets to them, you know, depending on where you live, these can wear out pretty quickly. And as for the rear end, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of stuff that I've ran into that goes bad really easily back here. The main thing is just the differential bushing, and then, you know, the end links and sway bar bushings that they're not greased, and after a long time of not being greased, the bushings will wear out and you'll get some noise from the sway bars. But yeah, for the rear, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so that was actually pretty cool. I got some pretty cool footage. I've never tried to mount my GoPro anywhere before, but you can see in the video that the compression arm is moving, and some of this movement is actually normal. So you are gonna have this flex and stuff, that's why the bushing is rubber, but there's a lot of movement, especially when I'm braking, that you can see. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit and show you guys when I'm braking. You can see it moves back and forth while the brakes are applied, and then I let off the brakes. You can see the whole arm slamming back and forth and causing a clunking sound. And the front looks relatively good, but the compression arm definitely has too much play, especially when the brakes are applied. Now I've got a compression arm here. This is actually for the driver's side as well. This is the same type of compression arm. So this is what it looks like. This is another used one that I have. I did buy new bushings, so I'm just gonna take this one off, swap out the bushing with the press, and put in a new one and then put it back on the car. But you can see on this one, it's not ripped at all. When you look at these cars and you see this bushing like that, that means you're gonna have noise when you're driving the car, because this bushing is ripped and it's gonna sway back and forth like you can see right here in the video, and it's moving a lot. That's a bad bushing for sure. And when you have stuff like that with the suspension, especially bad bushings, and these do wear out, but I mean, you replace them over time, and a lot of people don't think about their suspension as much as other parts of their vehicle. They'll change their oil, they'll change their coolant, they'll change their brakes, they'll rotate their tires and stuff like that. But the most important part of the vehicle, yeah, it is your brakes, but you've also got a lot of the suspension that keeps your car together. Say you have bad bushings on the front lower control arms, and you have a bad compression arm bushing, and maybe one of your ball joints is starting to go bad, and you know your suspension is starting to get old, it's starting to show a little bit of age. As you start to turn your steering wheel, you're gonna notice that there's a little bit of gap in between the response time that when you turn the steering wheel to when the actual wheels start to turn. You're gonna notice a little bit of play there, and that's just from these items going bad. So it's definitely a good idea just to put your car up in the air and take a look at these items and make sure that your ball joints aren't ripped, or your compression arms aren't showing too much wear, or your lower control arm bushings aren't bad. And it's a good thing, just to go through and replace these things over time. So I mean, little parts like this, you'll notice little things, you'll start to get pops here and there, you'll start to get creaks, and my main point here is, like anything else on the car, the suspension pieces like these and the stuff that I've gone over in this video is pretty important to the stability of the car. Alright guys, so that's pretty much the end of this video. I hope it helped you guys out. I hope it gives you a little bit of an insight of what to look for when checking out the suspension on your own vehicle or a vehicle that you're buying. And one thing I did want to talk about is I am probably going to be doing the Akibano video within the next couple of days. So I thought about it, and this car, I'm going to swap out the brakes on this car for the 06 to 09 350Z brakes. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the 06 to 09s had a twin piston brake, and it's really comparable to Brembo braking power. They don't have the nice look like a Brembo, they're not fancy, but they actually provide a significant amount of stopping power. So that's what I'm going to do on this car. I've already got brake pads on my personal car that are actually, I can trade them in. So they're Duralast Golds, and they're actually pretty nice brakes. When I first installed them, they came out really good, and their operation was really nice. But these cars have really shitty brakes from 03 to 05. And when you swap them out for the 06 to 09, the calipers are a lot bigger, the rotors are a lot bigger as well, and you're gonna see a bigger difference with the 03 to 05s. If you have an 06 to 09, you're not gonna see that big of a difference by swapping out for Brembo brakes. It's really not worth it, especially for the cost. You can get really good pads and really good rotors instead of doing the Brembo option. And I know it looks a lot nicer, but you're not gonna see a significant amount of braking power over your existing calipers if you have an 06 to 09. So what I'm gonna do with this car is I'm gonna take off these calipers, take off these rotors, and I'm actually gonna use the calipers and rotors off of that 07 350Z that I just parted out. So, and when I'm doing that, I'm actually going to clean them up pretty nice, and then I'm going to throw some brand new pads. And I'm not going to throw brand new rotors because the rotors that came off of that car looked like they were just changed not too long ago. I have to take a look at them again. I'm not 100% sure like what they looked like. But yeah, so look forward to the Akibano video within the next couple of days. I already have all the brake fluid. I already have the stainless steel lines, the brackets, the pads, the rotors, everything I have. I'm going to be doing it for the front. So I'm not going to be doing the ones in the rear just because I'm waiting on those dual caliper brackets, but I am going to be doing the ones on the front. I know it's going to look a little weird, but yeah. So look forward to that video. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. And consider subscribing. I've got a lot of stuff to come, and I've got a lot of aftermarket parts to come as well. I do little videos like this all the time. So yeah, and if you need any parts for 350Zs, G35s, G37s, or 300CXs, be sure to hit my Instagram and Facebook below, Be sure to hit my eBay stores below, or you can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. I can send it to you. I can send pretty much parts. I can send parts pretty much anywhere in the US, and I mean the continental US. I can send parts internationally too. It's just pretty expensive, and the only company that you can really use in the US to send internationally that I know of right now is USPS, and they're a little bit more on the more expensive side. So, but yeah, hit me up if you need any parts, and I'd be glad to help you out. Stay tuned for the Akibano video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.